Don't do that, that's dangerous.
Yeah. Oh, hey, for only a little while.
Okay, it's 9 AM. We'll begin the meeting with the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Walsh County Regular Commission meeting, August 19th, 2025. I'm going to begin with additions to the agenda. Jenny?
Nothing.
Amy? Nothing. Paul?
No.
Bernie?
Nope.
Christina?
Chris Larson could not make it today.
Okay. And myself, nothing. All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Everyone was provided a copy of the August 5th, 2025 regular meeting minutes and the monthly bills. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
For a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none. I don't need roll. Why do I always think I need roll on the consent agenda? So have, all in favor of the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, motion carried. Okay, employee time, we had Chris, but he is no longer here or going to be able to make it. Is anyone else here for employee time? I know you're both scheduled, right? Good morning. I think we could go ahead and move on with Tanya. Is that fine, Tanya?
Yeah, that's it, fine. Good morning.
Morning, Tanya.
I just have an update for you today on the lead officer position. We had a meeting with the lead board, Crystal helped coordinate that, about 2 weeks ago-ish, something like that. And I think we finally have some forward movement, for this position. So we, you know, in the process of exploring all of our options, I had spoken with the Grand Forks County Lead Officer, Joel Anderson. And he mentioned that his son may be willing to help us out, and may be interested in contracting with us for this position. And so, I have had multiple conversations with Jacob, is his name, Jacob Anderson. He is in the peak of his spraying season, of course, right now, so it's been challenging to find time to actually connect. But I've also been working with Kelly to have a contract written up. The contract is in her hands right now, just to take a look at it. There are a couple of things that we as a county will need to kind of think about or talk about if we move this direction. This is what the lead board, we talked about this with the lead board, and the lead board is in support of this, and this is their recommendation to move forward in contract with Jacob Anderson. It was also their recommendation, however, to keep a part-time admin staff on board here at the county. He would not be on site, he would be available, you know, via phone, email, all of that, but he wouldn't keep an on-site office or anything like that. So that was the lead board's official recommendation, is that we contract with him and we keep a part-time admin role to, basically that part-time admin role in working through that with Jacob. It would just be at a point of contact. So, you know, if somebody wanted to speak to somebody about the lead board or a lead officer, it would be a person. And they could be in charge of collecting the mail, things like that. So it would just be on premises, county premises point of contact. So that's what he felt would be helpful. He's willing and able to do the bulk of you know, the work that's involved. So he is actually in his 7th season of spraying for Walsh County, so he's extremely familiar with our the layout of our land and where the weeds typically grow. He is part of the spraying crew that does our summer spraying, and so he's extremely familiar with everything. So that's a huge benefit to us. I took a look at what we would put in the contract and budget, because that's, you know, this has historically been 15% of that combined role. We budgeted 15% of that of Brent's former position for weed, and then. This was it 10%? No, it's 10% of the admin one, okay. So total, when I was looking at the budget, we budgeted approximately $20,000 per year for those two positions. And things like payroll taxes, or the other two things repairs and parts, which hasn't really been used very much in the budget, but.
That was more so for the county vehicle for the department, so,
Okay, right.
and so that's for the truck, that and the gas. So the only reason we would need to keep the repair and parts is dependent upon the weed board owns a four-wheeler. So depending on what you do with that, if Jacob feels that's something you would utilize within the department, we would need to keep something in there in the event for maintenance for that, otherwise. If we decide to get rid of it or sell it off to another department, we wouldn't need that.
And I did ask him about that, knowing that was something we needed to work out. He doesn't feel he would need it. He said if it's there and I could use it on occasion, you know, if I ever needed it, it would be good to know that it's there, but he didn't feel like it was a necessity either, so. With the contract position, we don't have, like, we're not gonna be budgeting for gas separately, you know, we're not gonna be budgeting for, he would provide his own phone, email, all of that, you know, so it's contracted in that, you know, all those pieces of it would come with a contract piece, so. I looked at other counties, you know, what they budget for this position, and it is all over the board. It ranges from, one of our market counties has a full-time year-round $84,000 per year salary alone weed officer. And then another one of our market counties doesn't even have anything budgeted. Like, I called them and said, you know, did this not get into the survey? And like, no, we really don't have one. On the odd rare occasion we need something, we have a part-time guy, we just call him and we pay him hourly. So I don't even know if they budget anything for it. So it is all, you know, a huge range of what's how counties are taking care of this. So I suspect that we would maybe come in a little bit under the 20,000 that we've been budgeting with this contract rate. If we just look at a monthly contract rate, if we just set a flat contract rate and it would be the same year round, not tracking hours, things like that. And so the expectation would be that he attends the conference I think it's in January every year, right, Crystal? There's a big 3 or 4 day weed officer conference, and that would be a requirement of the contract as well, just to stay up. But he's very in tune to what the position entails. Like I said, his dad has been the Grand Forks County weed officer for 20-ish years, something like that, so we worked out like this would be a really good fit, so. Paul?
I just have a question, about the weed board itself, exactly what is the, purpose or what are they spraying, I guess?
Controlling noxious weeds.
Just anywhere or on
Through the
county
county
property?
right away, county right of ways, and then reporting, like, we've had instances with the railroad or individuals or whatever. I just got a call here last weekend about an individual. And the noxious weeds are identified by the state, and we are required by Century Code to control. And yeah, we're looking at it's like $190,000 a year we're spending on controlling noxious weeds. And he would be managing.
You would just be running over.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's a little bit of a gray area with the conflict when we're hiring them to do the spraying and he's in charge. But
He's a part of that spraying crew that we hire.
yeah,
But it's the same thing in Grand Forks County. They have the exact same thing, so I was really kind of blunt about that. I said, how does this work? How is this okay, or is this a conflict of interest? Their state's attorney has reviewed it a couple of different times in Grand Forks County, and there are no other contractors that put in bids for this work, and they are way under the contract rate or the going rate, you know, in the broader region, so it's deemed to be not concerned.
And they open up to bids just like we do.
Yeah.
So what Joel had explained to me with that as well, because I brought that up to him too, was that whenever they bid, I mean, the weed officer doesn't get a vote on the board. He can bring things to the agenda and talk about stuff, but he doesn't get a vote. The board decides who they hire. So he will come in, or he'll have one of those other guys come in to talk about their bid if they have any questions. But when they vote or wanna discuss, then he leaves, but he hasn't had any additional bids in Grand Forks County to spray for ages, so a lot of times they're the only bid, and we had the same problem, so he's been our only bid.
Amy,
So the 20,000 would be between Jacob and the admin. Is the part-time position, I mean, is it a part-time position? There's a grant, I know, so is that the admin work would do that part of it? There's a landowner grant, or what's
Our
the?
assistance program, it's
And
not,
TAG, yeah, so there's two different grants that we get, and with the landowner assistance program, that's, you know. Having an admin is a point of contact when it comes to getting that mail and getting all those receipts. So that's gonna be dependent upon Jacob, on whether he wants to handle all the reimbursement requests and filling out all the paperwork for it, and she's just a point of contact to get the papers and then send to him. Or if that admin wants to do what I've done, and I normally handle all the reimbursements and write up the vouchers and everything, so. That'll be up to.
I think it's gonna be a learning curve, especially this first year, but he seems very open to doing all of that on his own, to doing those landowner reimbursements and all of that. So he was just eager and feeling good about the fact that there would be a point of contact, so that somebody just collect mail, pass it along to him, that kind of thing. So he sounds like he's very willing to do the bulk of that. A lot of what has fallen under Crystal's plate previously, so.
I do have one concern with this admin.
Mhm.
I don't feel that we need to hire someone in our county to be a point of contact. You know, to have to hire them for that position.
I don't think it, so
I
I
think we
agree wholeheartedly.
designate.
It would be designated and it would be, it's. It
Other
would just be
duty is a-
extremely part-time, yeah, it would
Yeah.
just be somebody to be a point of contact. Less by far, in my understanding, than what Crystal has previously done for the program, right? Crystal has previously handled a lot of the paperwork piece of it and done a lot of that administrative support stuff.
Mhm.
Jacob does not feel that that's necessary. It's just the weed board felt strongly that having a contact under the umbrella of the county on site would be still important. Even if that person simply just is in charge of keeping the mail pile organized and passing it along to Jacob, you know,
Right,
so.
you take the phone call, somebody calls
Yes.
in, wants to report weeds, we've got a point of contact.
Yeah.
And we have someone to do the mail, and I say then you look at hiring Jacob to contract to do the rest.
Yeah.
I'm not really in favor of hiring a part-time admin person to answer a few phone calls
Sure.
and get the mail.
Mhm.
So Ernie, you have something?
You guys took the words all over my mouth.
So what we did kind
Go
of,
ahead.
what we had kind of spoken about in regards to the admin with that meeting was, you know, the admin position that is in my department, is that something we wanna keep? You know, for the week, just have that portion and keep it as part of that, or are we looking to separate it completely? And then we had talked about maybe that's something that the extension office would pick up because they are knowledgeable with, you know, they're another point of contact for the county in regards to noxious weeds and, you know, just different information.
You know,
So-
I'm gonna be honest.
Mhm.
I think for keeping the flow, I think it might be easiest if we just would keep you, Crystal, as point of contact, cause people are used to calling you with weed problems, right?
Mhm.
I think instead of upsetting the apple cart too much here, we could just leave that the same. That would be my thought. Leave that the same. Danny?
NDSU is very receptive to getting involved in that point, either from what I understand.
Mhm.
They don't,
I think it, unfortunately, in other areas of the state, the weed officer role has been kind of pushed upon extension offices in general, which is in their mind, huge conflict of interest, because they don't want to be a regulatory agency, right? And so, that's caused issues in other areas of the state. It did seem like, I mean, I don't know how, if they would be opposed to simply being a point of contact, as long as they're not at all involved with the regulatory side of it, if they're just funneling information and referring people on, I don't know. I thought about, bringing that, having those conversations, and I didn't know if it was appropriate to do so before we spoke about it here at board meeting, so.
My only thought with, Crystal too is as we evolve in roles and where she's at. and what we're doing, 911 dispatch, all of it, I think one of our goals has been to pull the weed from that department, so that there isn't this, oh, you have 911 dispatch and weed, you know, I mean, that was a Brent talent, and so it's not. In my thought, I think the point of contact is something that maybe we don't decide, we think about a little bit, of is there a, you know, an area, the weed board, if Ed is part of it, or I don't know, I mean, there might be other opportunities is my point, instead of, because as portfolio holder, my goal has been to just not have those three connected, like just separating. Dispatch and 911 makes sense. Weed on there at this point with where we are with our employees and our departments, with Brent not here anymore, I don't feel that does, so. I agree if Crystal has been that, but I also think it's something, you know, I'd like to think on, or think if there's maybe even another option for. Another option, I guess.
And I can look into that, and I think I could be, we would want Kelly to confirm this, but it seems to me in reading Century Code that the lead board is given the authority to hire and, you know, compensate the lead officer, and so, I think that piece of this is delegated to the lead board in Century Code. And so, but obviously it's important to keep, you as a commission in the loop, but that was their formal recommendation. I told them I'd bring this to you and kind of inform everyone that this is the direction that we'd like to go, seek your feedback. But I can work with the lead board and see if there's other options for that part-time admin role. We can just think on that for a little bit, like you said.
I don't know if I call it part-time admin role, I mean,
I know,
I.
that might be too, I agree.
Kind of,
Yeah,
cause you
that
say
might be.
part-time, and then
Then
if
you
I
start-
were told that, I'd be like, okay, what am I getting paid, and what, you know, I mean,
Yeah, I
that's.
get that, yep, and I don't, at first, that wasn't even on the like, that wasn't even talked about at first in the lead board meeting. But it was more so, well, what, like the logistics, like, where does the mail go? You know, who collects the mail, like the little things like that, it was just they felt that a point of contact would be helpful to have on site, so.
But some of these landowner assistants are coming in already.
They come in and they drop them off personally, or they come in to get a printout of it rather than calling or having it mailed out.
Do you,
To me, yeah, I've had people
Yes.
come in with a handful of weeds to show me, hey, what's this? Can we go over this? Yeah, it's I mean, different things like that, as well as what we brought up too, on like, you know, me being the admin, I'm also the secretary, I take all the minutes and I put out the agenda and all that stuff, which Jacob would be able to do, but then when he'd be taking those minutes and they're like, well, we kept that admin and that point of contact, they could be the one to take the minutes in the meetings and, you know, send out the emails of the reminders of the meetings and such. It just depends on, you know, what Jacob is gonna wanna take on all himself, how much they want that person involved, and then to, you know, to what extent of everything.
I guess I look at it as if we're looking at contracting, or the lead board's looking at contracting someone, we tell them what we would like, not them telling us what they wanna do.
Mhm.
So I think we make a list of what we would like them to do, which I think should be all of it, other than the point of contact. Why why get it too messy,
Yeah.
we've got a county employee doing part of it, and we've contracted a weed officer to do
Yeah.
part, that would just be my suggestion.
Yeah.
So, does anybody else have any questions, because it doesn't sound like we need to vote or anything, because it's. the
That's
weed
how I
board does
interpret
it.
Century Code, I'm obviously not an attorney, but it
Yeah.
says in Century Code that the lead board has the authority to hire and compensate a lead officer, so. Just looking, I was wanting to get your feedback and see any thoughts, and so I will continue to work with Kelly and the lead board and Jacob to get this in place, so. If there's no other feedback.
Amy?
I just had worked with Tanya a little bit, obviously on this portfolio, and I feel like this is just it's just a great option for Walsh County, because we're able to just continue what we've already been doing, essentially, you know, I mean, from Joel wasn't able to have the capacity to take, but the fact his son has worked with him 7 years and can just keep working, and it covers what we need as a county. It's been a relief in a lot of other things that we haven't known what were coming, so hopefully this will just be a smooth transition.
And he would have then the authority, I take it, for like, for weed control, for the compliance letters, that type of thing, he would take care of all of that.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Okay,
We'd be handling all of that, and like I said, he's got a great mentor, cause
yeah,
he's works under, you know, he's observed his dad in this role for the last 20-ish years, so.
good
I-
support group.
what's great support group, yeah, so,
Okay,
okay, that's all I have, so.
Well, thank you.
All the questions, thank
for the
you.
update.
Thanks, Tanya.
Yep.
Okay, we don't really have time to go on to Christina. Who's trying to fill 10 minutes here, is that what we've got?
We could talk about the temporary staffing. request.
Yeah, we could do that part. Okay, so we're gonna bump down to Christina's portion of the agenda on auditor treasurer temporary staffing.
Okay, so that's the last page in your agenda. So this is a request, for temporary staffing to hire like 2 or 3 part-time staff, 16 hours a week for 3 months at $20 an hour to help with record retention and filing and organization in our vaults in the auditor and treasurer's office. The total request for 3 positions would be $12,480, and for 2 positions is $83.20. And then what the auditor treasurer's office budgeted for only salaries, this doesn't consider any other line items in the budget, this is only salaries. There would still be 53,000 left in the salary, and we would still be able to fill our full-time vacant position with that for the rest of the year.
Okay, can you just so the rest of the commission knows, Christina and I had a conversation and Christy had also discussed this with me prior. The vault area is in great need of organization. They're not able to work efficiently because they can't find what they're looking for. So, and this isn't, this goes back a ways.
So I think when Chris Mulvey retired, there was a little bit of a gap there before Christy Quibell came in, and there was a lot of turnover in the office during that time, and they weren't able to concentrate at all on record retention, filing, organization. So it's just been neglected over the last 2 years, and it is very hard for me to find what I need to find for the audits especially, as I'm trying to track things down for iBailey. And I predict I'll continue to have that problem with the 2023 and 2024 audits. So requesting if I could hire a couple of part-time staff to come in and be able to concentrate on that. They'll come in during working hours so they can ask questions, and we'll be able to get the files organized, and as they're going through it, I can give them the direction to look for documents from 2023 and 2024. Hopefully have a better audit process going forward as well. And I don't know if I'll be able to hire 3 people, but the ability to be able to would be great.
And you said just for up to 3 months, is that
Yeah.
what you were saying?
Yeah, I could, 2 days a week for 3 months would cover it.
Okay, Paul.
I think the audit, is it true that the auditor's office has been running short staffed for a while, is that first,
Yes, yeah.
which contributed to this problem?
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay,
Need a motion? Well, that, getting that audit done as quick as we can is gonna be a viable tool for moving forward
I know
with the jail funding.
we need to keep that at the forefront to get those audits up to date.
I'll make a motion that we approve up to 3 positions. At the rate that was discussed.
I'll second.
okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll take roll. Denny,
Yes.
Paul,
Yeah,
Ernie,
Yes.
Amy, yes, myself, yes, motion carried.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Hey, do you wanna, I don't know if it was ever mentioned either at the last meeting.
Oh, yes, I forgot to bring it up. So Anna Thompson has accepted the payroll benefit specialist position. So that was really exciting for our office. We're of course happy to have her. She's been doing a great job with payroll these last couple months on her own, and Tanya's come in to help. So she's accepted that, and she has expressed that she would, start working 4 days a week with the new year, so that is what I put in the budget. So that was really exciting too. And then we have some interviews coming up for the deputy auditor position, so we're hoping to be fully staffed within the month, I hope.
It's good to hear.
Yeah.
Very good to hear. Okay. I think we're gonna probably have to take the break here. There's nothing else we can move on to.
Dedication.
Oh. We mentioned
Mention it?
the dedication.
Oh, the bridge.
Yeah, we can, Ernie, I guess we can have you mention
I
it.
guess we put it on there, it's on 12 o'clock, but we figured right after the meeting, we go over to Park River and dedicate the bridge. In Park River to Dan Stanville, so. He didn't want a real big deal, I tried getting hold of a couple presses and see if whatever, but, well, I don't know who's gonna all be there, but Dan knows about it and he'll meet us there. Shouldn't take too long. So,
So we'll just head over right after our meeting here and
Which bridge is it, Ernie?
it's the one right by the water plant there, in Park River when you're going,
To the golf cart.
yeah.
Yeah.
okay. You guys see anything else on here we could hit quick? I don't see anything. Not quick.
No,
We'll wait just a few minutes, or should we go ahead and let you, should we just
We could, adjourn the first half or take the,
take the roll?
yeah. Yeah. Do we need Kelly here to take?
No, she actually is in court this morning and she mentioned to me that she might not be able to be down here right away, but she's going to come as soon as she can, so that's why I want to hold off till 9:30. But we could take the roll. And then we could convene, right? Or stop
Yeah.
the recording?
Yeah, so I believe you have to,
Okay.
take roll, like make a motion, one of you has to make a motion to enter into executive session
Okay,
pursuant to North Dakota
Yeah.
Century Code.
I'll read all that.
Okay.
We'll do that, yeah. Okay, so at this time. Let's see, just a minute. Just have to find it, okay. So at this time, we will need a motion to go into executive session for an attorney consultation to discuss the litigation case of the Mars and others versus County Commissioners, Walsh County, North Dakota Supreme Court case number 202502262, reasonably predictable litigation relating thereto. And it says the county commission may convene into executive session for attorney consultation regarding this litigation and reasonably predictable litigation relating thereto pursuant to North Dakota Century Code 44-04-19.1 and 44-04-19.2. So with that, do I have a motion to move into executive session based on that statement?
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
And with that, I'll take roll. Amy,
Yes.
Ernie,
Yes.
Paul,
yes.
Denny,
Yes.
myself, yes, motion carried. And we will convene into executive session in just a few minutes at 9:30.